And again, when I shut down and when I feel defensive or I feel unsafe, there are certain definable characteristics of what that feels like. And understanding that with tremendous acceptance and kindness and compassion is really key to working with this path. Because the more we can understand how we shut down, what happens when our light goes red, the more merciful we can be to others. So trusting another human being to help us unpack that experience, explore that experience, is very much what we are trying to allow as part of our mindful communication training. But most importantly, when we look at the process of shutting down, what we begin to identify is this tremendous vulnerability. And the vulnerability that is attached to a feeling of shame is what we call the yellow light. There's a great deal of vulnerability in the trust and openness and softness of the green light, but it's not associated with shame. However, with the yellow light, and we would say, for instance, that would be an example of being triggered. For instance, you've been developing a friendship with someone, you're really feeling safe with them, you look forward to seeing them, and they hurt your feelings or they disappoint you in some way, or you feel slighted by them. And then this vulnerability of feeling hurt gets accompanied by an irrational feeling of shame. What did I do to deserve that? They must have seen that there's something wrong with me. I knew that friendship would never take off. And because that's unexamined, because we just run away from that, we're very much in the habit of trying to freeze into the red light as a way of protecting ourselves. So in this training, it's all about learning how to make room for that vulnerability to be there and to have enough safety so that the feeling of shame can be examined and ultimately unmasked to realize that there's no basis for it. Now, how do we do that? Well, we do that in a very specific way, and that is by creating what we call a green zone. And a green zone is like an emotional safety net. It's a environment of protection that's made by having an agreement, making an agreement with a few friends that we're going to actually look at our communication with this kind of kindness and insight and compassion, so that we can enable each other to recognize how we open and how we close and what happens in between.